paintings are full of unsolved mysteries. To understand the mystery of each picture, you have to get acquainted with the life and thoughts of its creator. Let these paintings come to life. Watch our new TV program at the gallery.
Бороды мне не дал Бог, а я выпросить не мог у него и шерсти клок. Мне бывало му и чёрт головы не отсечет, ведь его уловки все знаю я, алдар косе, и чертенят загоню обратно в ад. Теперь я верю, что вы самый настоящий алкоголь.
Who
of us doesn't know the story about the Merchant Aldar Koseh? The first film about him was shot in Kazakhstan in 1964. Sheikh Naimanov directed and starred in it. But success of the film didn't solely depend on the work of actors, director and cameraman. Viewers could feel the ancient Oriental atmosphere due to the beautiful work of KULAKHMET, who created decorations and costumes for the film. Historical reference: Gates of Turkestan. Sketch of the decorations for a feature film Aldar Koseh Beardless Cheat. Author KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV. Alma-Ata, 1964. Paper, watercolors, gouache. I guess the film was shot in 1964. At that time, Hoxha Ahmet Yasawi Mausoleum was tumbled down and there was wasteland around it. Gates of Turkestan, Taikazan, Bazaar, which at the time got pitched near Hoxha Ahmet Yasawi Mausoleum, this all looked quite authentic in the film. The art director KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV had to restore a huge layer of time in which, according to the legends, the beardless cheat lived. And according to different sources and his own knowledge, Father managed to embody and build the whole town around Turkestan. Biographical reference: KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV, born in 1914, died in 1986. Theatre and cinema artist, graphic artist, book designer, the honored artist of Kazakhstan. After 2 years of internship in Gorky Bolshoi Drama Theatre in Leningrad and studies in theatre artist studio attached to the Russian Academy of Arts, in 1936 he returned to Alma-Ata. He could plunge into this epoch. He felt the spirit of nation, some ethnic features. In Alma-Ata, KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV designed decorations for 20 theatrical productions. In the beginning of the war, he volunteered to the front line. In a year, the government of Kazakhstan recalled him and assigned him to work in cinematography at the Central United Film Studio. The Khodjikovs have always esteemed Turkestan cultural heritage. In his time, KULAKHMET's father was the custodian of the ancient memorials. Konir Hoxha was one of the most educated people of that time. Teacher, reformer of Kazakh schools, local history expert. He was a man of extraordinary destiny. In 1938, Konir Hoxha was arrested and sentenced to death for participating of Alashorda autonomy within the territory of the Soviet Kazakhstan. For a long time, his children could not get rid of a stigma of the son of the public enemy. We were supervised, and the officer from People's Commissariat for Internal Affairs was coming to us regularly. KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV inherited passionate interest in books, history, and ancient Kazakh legends from his father, and his mother, Latipa Lapina, passed on to him her love for art. Historical reference: Latipa Hoxhikova, née Lapina, the daughter of forest judge, famous bee Munait Pas Lapin. She was a craftswoman and costume director. To the end of her life, she worked in Abay Kazakh opera and ballet theatre in Alma-Ata. It was in Kizilorda, and KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV got in touch in the theatre very early. In 1955 in Kizilorda, the artist from Orenburg was expected, but for some reason the artist wasn't coming, and it was decided to turn to a craftswoman, Latipa Hoxhikova, and she responded. And she and her 4 sons fulfilled this work, and they did it perfectly. And after that, they were often invited to work. It was then when KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV identified himself as an artist. He understood it was what he wanted.
Он понял, что это его.
In this sketch, we see his special ability to line up and form the aerial perspective so that in future large decorations could be built according to this sketch. In 1932, the 17-year-old KULAKHMET started working in the Kazakh drama theatre as a scene painter. His brothers also engaged themselves with art. Ahmet KHODZHIKOV became one of the first Kazakh monument sculptors. Ahmet KHODZHIKOV was a film director, the honored artist of the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic. Ahmet KHODZHIKOV worked as a scene painter, but became famous as the master of landscapes and posters. In the 40s of the 20th century, the Kazakhstani cinematography was being just established. KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV became the first Kazakhstani artist to work together with the prominent masters of the Soviet and world cinema: Sergei Eisenstein, Grigory Roshal, Moisey Levin.
10 танков подбили! Нет, 11! Пожалуйста! Ложись!
Historical reference. Central United Film Studio worked in Alma-Ata in the years of the Great Patriotic War. It included recently established Alma-Ata Film Studio of feature films and Mosfilm and Lenfilm studios evacuated here. About 80% of all film products of the Soviet Union were created here. The main theme of these films was the heroic struggle of the Soviet people against fascism. And for several years, Alma-Ata became the cinematographic capital of the country. Eisenstein highly appreciated him, and father wrote in his memories that he attended his house, and Grigory Roshal acquainted them. He brought him, and more, Eisenstein showed him his drawings for Ivan the Terrible. He checked his reaction, and father in his turn also showed his works. They exchanged their sketches. After war, KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV continued working at Alma-Ata Film Studio for documentaries and feature film, which was later called KAZAKHFILM. During the many years of work as art director, he created films which were included in the treasury of the Kazakh cinematography. We Are from Semirechye, My Name is Kozha, Aldar Kose, Abai's Songs, Father's Land, Gauhar Tas, and others. Art director creates visual solutions, which helps revealing director's idea of the film. He makes sketches of decorations and costumes, selects stage properties, takes part in selection sites for outdoor shoot, and participates in decorations production. And the emotional mood of the film largely depends on artist's skill. But his work is hidden from spectators' view. Whereas in theatre, artist can find his own style and invent some paradox methods, in cinema everything should be just like in life. And when the work of art director is not seen, that is the highest achievement. According to art experts, many of KULAKHMET KHODZHIKOV's sketches are beautiful fine art painting. In any work, he manages to convey the epoch, its atmosphere, and mood. Laconism, precision, and firmness of picture are peculiar for his landscapes. His fine art canvases are fulfilled on a very high level, and his graphic art. He was very good at compositions with many figures, which is important for feature films, where it was very important to elaborate foreground and background. Many sketches are multifigured, and there are yurts here. There is action, theatrical action. It is not just a picture, it is a tale. Some event is happening there. Artist's sketch is quite panoramic, and in order not to stretch it too far, the artist divides it into two parts. The left part of the sketch has sharp contrast and well drawn. We see many details, trees, people and architectural constructions. And at the same time, in the right part, everything is very light and ephemeral, and only smoke over water tank unites these two separate worlds into one whole common sketch. One of the first films KULAKHMET worked on, in 1942, was Jumbo. It was a wartime. Film studio's budget was reduced due to the difficult economic situation in the country. Jumbo did not come out. The film was taken out of production, but his sketches remained. In series of works, Icy's Step. These works are very simple in their composition. Colors of the elements running wild express the atmosphere of hopelessness, suffering, and people's grief. The whole Kazakh history shown in his sketches. For example, the years of great disasters. He has a wonderful series of the 30s, establishment of the young republic. He was known for his attraction to historicism. Many people respected him for his perfect knowledge of Kazakh history and way of life. And of course, he has beautiful landscapes. KULAKHMET always record his first films in the Central United Film Studio with special tenderness. He was lucky to work with the famous cinema masters. While shooting the film To the Straits of Dombras, that changed his life. A film concert. It was designed for the frontline soldiers, for Kazakh warriors to raise their spirits. And our prominent artists Kulash Baysaitova and Kanabek Baysaitov were filmed in it. In one part, the pianist Gulzauhar Chumbalova played. Later, she would become the artist's wife. Unfortunately, Gulzauhar passed away early. KULAKHMET was devoted to her to his dying day. He became a widower at the age of 44, and since then father never married. He dedicated his life to us and to his art. Abay's songs. The first, and for a long time the only film about the famous Kazakh poet Abay Kunanbayev. Shooting on the film was launched in wartime. Dozens of costume and decoration sketches. Abay's character was very valuable for KULAKHMET, and he worked on it his whole life. Those were illustrations to poet's life, paintings and sketches to Abay opera. He felt all those characters very well. He worked on each detail of costumes, starting from the hats, and worked out every detail of scenes. He had many sketches, and the film was shot according to his sketches and photoscript. Very detailed elaboration of the whole plotline and of each character in particular. He had very rich imagination and clear handwriting. Indeed, he was a professional in his trade and a good drawer. He could immediately catch the image, and which is very important. Let us study some sketches for the famous films. Sketch to Andrei Tarkovsky's film Solaris, according to Stanislav Lem's novel. Art director is Mikhail Ramadin. sketches to Yuri Norstein's Hedgehog in the Fog, the most world-famous Soviet animated feature film. Sergei Kozlov's tale was screened several times, but Norstein's film became the most famous. We cannot make sketches of the artist Hans-Rudolf Giger to the cult film Alien. The artist managed to combine the directions of science fiction and gothic horrors.
No! Here! Here!
Using restraint art methods and without drawing out details, the artist nonetheless achieves strong expression and a very ancient Oriental atmosphere. Now Turkestan gates built without minarets, and father discovered this historic fact, a photo where the French traveler imprinted it. It turned out that Turkestan gates had minarets, while now there are not. But father drew it all in his sketches. He pictured it in authentic appearances. KULAKHMET HODZHIKOV actively supported preservation and development of Kazakh applied arts and crafts. Many kinds of Kazakh crafts were disappearing. It is necessary to establish a specialized museum, otherwise the best traditions and priceless samples of national ornamentation would be irretrievably lost for the future generation. The artist wrote to the government. Many times yet in the 30s and in the 50s, father turned to the government with a proposal to establish a museum where crafts works would be collected. Crafts works were brought from the expeditions from different parts of Kazakhstan. Many times, Hodζhikov participated in those searching trips, and a unique collection of Kazakh craftsmen works was gathered. All those temekets, sirmaks, jewelry, wooden items, brought everything that now forms the priceless treasury of Ablayhan Kastev's State Museum of Fine Arts. KULAKHMET HODZHIKOV was the first in the country to learn the trade of art director, cinema artist. His life was filled with his work. He flamed with his ideas. His art captivated all who were around. When he started to work, everyone was confident. If KULAKHMET takes work, everything's going to be all right. Because he wasn't afraid of work, he could take hammer and nail and carpenter himself. He could turn up his whole team for the positive mood. He took part in everything. And not only as an art director, as a scene artist, he was starting from the sketch and was going through it all, paying attention to every detail. Using various art devices, such as linear perspective, aerial perspective, contrast of line and spots, the artist achieved certain expression in depicting the ancient East. It was necessary for creating the film. Born in a famous art family, he left us great legacy. Artist, researcher, culture expert. His works were full of sincere love to his homeland, to his compatriots. That is why KULAKHMET HODZHIKOV's characters are still alive, both in his paintings and on screen.